podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
No brakes. No brakes. No fear. No fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome to a special episode of No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast. I'm Ian Brannan, and in this episode I'm joined by Rory Schlein to look ahead to the 2024 Speedway of Nations. We'll record this on location at the Pidcock Motorcycles Arena in Leicester, in case you hear any tractors in the background or flags flapping in the breeze. And we'll look ahead to who might be making the final on Saturday and who could be standing on top of the podium on Saturday night. We'll look ahead to all of that and hear from some of those riders involved as well in this special episode of No Brakes, No Fear.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome to this special episode of No Brakes, No Fear, looking ahead to the 2024 Speedway of Nations, of course held in the UK at the National Speedway Stadium in Manchester. Great Britain, therefore, as the host nation, goes straight through to the final. There's two semi-finals to come and a busy week ahead of Speedway with SON2 on Friday. I'm alongside Rory Schlein, former British champion, but a former Team Australia rider as well. You've covered all bases, so you've got a good lot of experience here, Rude Boy. Let's start off with Australia, because they, in theory, I guess, are the holders of this, the last time that the Speedway of Nations took place. And they've named their final three: Jack Holder, Max Fricke and Brady Kurtz. Obviously, three riders with a lot of experience of the National Speedway Stadium. Well, certainly two in Max Fricke and Brady Kurtz, and Jack Holder, of course, one of the top riders in the world right now.
You look at it on paper, it screams, obviously, gold medal, but it's not that simple. But I think their experience around Bellevue with Max, obviously, quite a few seasons there, and obviously the way Brady's been sort of steamrolling everyone around Bellevue this year, it's a no-brainer really for them to put him up at the pointy end. But with Jack having that sort of knock, you know, from the Grand Prix, so depending on how he pulls up after that, and also like Brady's coming back from that foot injury, but I think he had his first meeting in Poland the other week and double figures, so it's not really hindering him too much. And Bellevue is not a track where you're going to really rely too much on your feet really, because it's a big track, it's open, and you just want to keep the wheels in line. But surely, yeah, they look like favourites, and it's a track that all the Aussies enjoy riding anyway. Okay,
well, let's get into that Australia team then. Here's Max Fricke.
Yeah, I think Jack's been in unreal form all year, so that's, you know, really good for Australia. So we got Jack, obviously myself, and Brady around Bellevue is, pretty good himself. So I think it's going to be, I think a good Speedway Nations for Australia. Hopefully, we can get a Munskett and we'll be right up at the pointy end again.
I've talked about this a lot with riders in the past, but in my book, Bellevue, the National Speedway Stadium track, is one of the best in the world. It should serve up some fantastic racing with that level of competition next week.
Yeah, I think so. And with the track being what it is, there's so many racing lines, it's going to make pairs racing really difficult. So I think you'll be able to point out, who's some of the top teams out there.
Just to explain the difference between this, because we have had one or two questions. What is the Speedway of Nations? Why is it different to the World Cup? It is a pairs tournament, of course. They select three riders, but in theory you could go through with the same pair all the way, pretty much, I think, maybe apart from one ride. From that point of view then, from a rider's point of view, how is that discipline different to a regular league match or a team match?
Well, I think what they've tried to do, they've obviously tried to incorporate what they do in the motocross World of Nations, but they did used to have the World Pairs Championship many years ago. I think it was 92 or 3 or 93 was the last time they ran it, and they were always good events. I remember the Americans being very strong in it years ago. And obviously Britain as well. Britain always had strong contenders in it, but it just brings something different, a new dynamic as well, and it encourages team racing, where the World Cup, you're only out there by yourself against other nations, where the Speedway Nations, you're out there with your teammate, and it's not all about winning that race. It's about, obviously, team riding, about getting the points when it's needed. Seconds and thirds are better than wins. Obviously, how the point system works, as we would call it, a 5-1 would be better, but the point scoring is obviously different in the Speedway Nations, but it just encourages more team racing.
And looking at the team lineup, so we'll come to Great Britain now. We don't know the final three just yet. We can have a good assumption on who likely would be the two Grand Prix riders that are remaining fit in Dan Bewley and Robert Lambert. Clearly would go in there as your favourites. Plus then it's a choice for Simon Stead and Ollie Allen of Tom Brennan or Adam Ellis at the time of recording this, of course. And clearly Tom Brennan maybe might be the favourite with his track experience of being a former Bellevue rider and also a rider who finished third in the British Championship on that track and is the wild card for Cardiff as well. I
think statistically Tom would probably get the nod, but depending on what Ollie and Steady feel that they think where the strength may lay. We know Adam's quick around there. He's won a British Championship around there, so you can't rule him out of getting the nod either. But
as have you.
True, true.
You're not fit though.
But I think Dan, obviously Bellevue rider, Robert does ride the place quite well. I know he didn't have a good one at the British Championship. We were extremely disappointed, but I think Robert's sort of a bit like Bomber. He comes out of his shell and raises his game when it comes to Speedway Nations. We've seen that many a times before with Robert in the World Cup and then the Speedway Nations. So, look, I still think, as much as Wolfie's not there, I would have probably gone with Robert and Dan anyway, just because they are probably been a bit more consistent than Ty. Obviously Ty, you can't deny 3-time world champion. He's got the class. And there were signs there in them couple of races. He was showing a little bit of the old Ty we knew. Unfortunately, he's obviously had the injury and we wish him the best. But I think they would have gone in going with Robert and Dan. But what happens is it makes it harder for Simon and Ollie now. If they do need to make a change, they're sort of governed. But they're still going to be there somewhere abouts.
Well, let's find out more about Team Great Britain then, and team manager Simon Stead can give us more.
Well, Simon Stead, obviously a big week coming up for Great Britain. Obviously, you get to watch the first few events. Is that exactly what you'll be doing as well, keeping your eye on the other nations first and foremost?
Yeah, that's right. It's a big week, lots of speedway going on, so enables us to stay fresh. I think we have to look at the positives. Yeah, I know we're not getting a ride out necessarily in a meeting before the final, but we do get to stay fresh. We have got practice, so I think we're all in a good position. We've been in constant contact with the lads. Everybody's in a good place, and obviously we're without Ty, but we march on, and I'm still confident.
Obviously a massive blow to lose Ty Woffington, particularly so close to the event. Obviously Dan Bewley and Robert Lambert, the other Grand Prix boys involved, and if Tom Brannan is involved by the time where people are listening to this and he's been named in the squad, obviously they've got that experience from last time this event was held in Manchester.
Yeah, I think we've called on Dan and Rob, haven't we? They did it before in Manchester. They've performed in Vojens, and they were also very, very good in the World Cup. So they're seasoned professionals. They're Grand Prix riders. They're right at the top. So the fact that we have riders like that at our disposal is a great position to be in. And we go into the final knowing that the expectations of being the Great Britain team right now, because a medal or second or third or whatever is no longer good enough. We know that we're good enough to win gold. We know that people will also kind of expect that from us, being able to perform on our home territory and be able to get a gold medal. So certainly that's what we'll be going for, and I hope come the end of Saturday we'll all be jumping around and spraying champagne about.
Yeah, so many mixed emotions after last year's World Cup for everything that's been spoken about previously, but with the work that's continued behind the scenes as a whole unit, what would it mean if you could clinch gold this year again?
Well, I think it would be fitting for all the hard work that goes in, from not just me and Ollie, but the boys. I mean, the lads that have made the squad, the lads that have made the final three, the lads that will go out there and do the business on the night, but also the backroom team and Rob and Vicky and everybody that puts in so much hard work over the last 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. It's been a process, and we continue with that, and we believe in what we're doing and improving and going a step in the right direction every year. And I know we haven't won gold over the last 2 years, but 21 was pretty special when we won gold, and I actually think that we rode as well, if not better, the 2 years that we finished in second. So if we can keep going in the right direction and keep performing as we are doing and get a little bit of luck on the way, then there's no reason why we can't perform like we did.
And finally, a quick word on the host as well, because so much goes on behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see or even hear about. But on Monday night at Bellevue, you saw the temporary grandstand on bends 3 and 4, and when that place is packed out, it's going to be a real special atmosphere to race in front of.
Well, we're so lucky that we've got such patriotic fans who get right behind us, and you know they will play their part on Saturday. There's no doubt about that. So I'm really looking forward to the event. You know, in terms of a whole spectacle, it's a fantastic week of Speedway. Looking forward to the meeting on Friday as well, which is where we can get behind our young lads, and let's hope they can perform as well, and we have a good week.
Steady, wishing you and the boys all the best.
Thank you. Cheers, Ryan.
But of course, it's going to be a big night on that Saturday night in the final. There's going to be a huge crowd for that one. Obviously, the semi-finals are going to rely on the fans to come out and support the nations and some of the lesser nations as well. Looking at those other nations, sometimes, usually there is a nation that springs a surprise, that comes to the party that you're not expecting. Everybody's expecting, you know, the Danes, the Aussies, but you can't rule out some of these other riders, especially on British tracks, that might just spring a surprise. And looking at those nations, maybe Germany or Italy, even USA, they've got experience of riding our particular material.
But that's the good thing about Bellevue, is that the actual, you know, Eastern European guys, you know, like from Ukraine and even Italy, Latvia, these guys are actually going to take to Bellevue more than what they would do, say, if it was King's Lynn or the old Coventry kind of shape. It won't take them long, and I'd say majority of them have already done some laps around Bellevue previously in a World Cup or in a Speedway of Nations that already had. So I would say majority have already had track knowledge, but I think what it does, Bellevue is a level playing field. It really is. Like, there's a couple of guys you'd say who are sonic, like obviously you'd say Bewley, Smarslik will ride it well, but for me maybe a dark horse could be Sweden, because I just think with Freddie all of a sudden finding a bit of form, showed immense pace at Gorjov, and to overcome Smarslik pretty much on his home patch, it will obviously build confidence in the team. Jacob Torsel's been riding quite well in Poland and Sweden, I know. So, you know, that could be a team that could be a bit of a dark horse for me.
Let's look at the teams that probably are going to be up there with the favourites. Poland now, of course, Bartosz Smarslik comes to the National Speedway Stadium along with Dominik Kubera and Maciej Janowski. That
first rider would have been a hard choice to put him in the team.
Yeah, I know, he just wins too much, you know. But so it's going to be interesting to see him go there, because for Poland, the Speedway of Nations, it's not been the competition that they've really loved.
No, they've not had probably the most success in it, in the sense of what they had in the World Cup. Like, if you go over, I would say in the modern era, they have really dominated the World Cup in the modern Speedway time. But I looked at that selection and I was actually surprised with Magic, if I'm honest. He's had an up and down season. I don't think he's been the Magic we know what he can be from World number 2, multiple winner of Grand Prix. He's not sort of like, he showed some pace and practice in the last GP, but then struggled, and I mean really struggled to run with them with the big guys. And when you got someone like maybe Vojens, you know, who is fast and would probably ride Bellevue quite well, and in my eyes maybe a little bit better than Magic. So that was a surprise decision for me. But Kubera, Smarslik, they're going to be obviously the main ones to Australia. You can't fault Smarslik's quality, class, and you know, he's got it on paper as well. So it's going to take a lot to knock them guys off. Conditions always play a part at Bellevue. We've seen numerous meetings where there's been a lot of grip and then the racing's not so good, because people, you know, when you get to that level, when these guys are in front, they just check out. And what I think what will throw it open is if they do run it a little bit slicker. I think that's when it opens up. If they run it grippy, I just think that will play in the hands of the Aussies and the Poles. If you run it slick, I think that opens the door for everyone else.
Maybe a little surprise, it might have gone not particularly mentioned really, but I know from speaking to Kelvin Tatum, and he was going to be joining me on this podcast, but he's got toothache, so get well soon, Kelv. He's trying to get himself sorted for the Speedway of Nations himself. His point, or his surprise, was that you got Simon Wozniak. He's in the Grand Prix. He didn't even make the 5. Didn't make the squad of 5. So Dubrovki sticking with the guys that he's worked with for the years.
Yeah, I find sometimes it's a bit one-dimensional. I think you have to have an open view, because I think when you go to when you leave your home ground, like obviously in Poland, they know who's good at certain tracks. Like You know, Vojens, he's won the Polish Championship, he's in the Grand Prix. He warrants to be in the squad in my eyes, and has shown pace in some of these Grand Prix as well. And really probably deserves the cap.
I mean, could you imagine Britain leaving out Robert Lambert and putting Bomber in?
It's exactly right. You've just hit the nail on the head with that. That is what the decision's like. But, you know, sometimes your face fits, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on what the manager feels like, that he feels that he can get the best out of. And he's gone with Magic and obviously the squad he's got. So, you know, he's made the decision. He's get paid to make these decisions, and he'll live by them decisions.
Obviously, with no Great Britain in the semi-finals, maybe some of the British fans might be picking a side to cheer on. Denmark might be one, although no riders that race in the British leagues there, but they are led by Nicky Pedersen as well. Obviously a bit of a Marmite character in Speedway, but he is a legend, you have to say. Mikkelsen, Anders Thomsen and Rasmus Jensen for them, going to be strong. Yeah,
and I think obviously they're missing Leon will be, because I think Leon's... No, he's had some issues, you know, outside racing and stuff at the minute, but he really showed some character at Gorzoff. And Bellevue, as I was saying, if it's a slick Bellevue, I tell you what, that's someone who they would have really liked at obviously Speedway of Nations, but unfortunately he's not there. But they've still got a strong lineup, and they're going to be one of them teams that will be there. And that's what I mean by we go back to what the track conditions are like. If the track conditions ride on the slick side, Denmark will obviously be quite a threat. If it goes on the grippier side, I don't think you'll get too much out of them. They'll make the final, but, you know, when it comes to the pointy end, I don't know if they'll have enough, you know, to obviously push for a gold. So we'll wait and see on that one.
Elsewhere, just a quick look at some of the other sides then. Well, we've got an interview with Paco Castagna. Play you that in a sec. But Paco Castagna captaining Italy. Nico Cavati is just, well, he's made a good first impression with Plymouth. Now he's back here and fit again. And Nicholas Vincentin is in that side as well. But I don't know, you know, again, you never know with Paco. He's gone well round there in the past.
I think for a team like for Italy and Ukraine and that, they're a team that can just go there and not have any expectations. You know, they will know they're not expected to maybe qualify, but I think their ultimate goal, and I think it would be a fantastic achievement, is making the final. You know, for their country, for their federation, and obviously, you know, the progression of their nation as well in the sport. So, you know, they should be looking at qualifying for the final, getting that extra night under their belt, but you only have to look at the Italians. They're always got a smile on their face, and when you see Paco, you know you got excitement.
Paco Castagna, you've obviously the final lineups have been revealed. You're captain of the Italian team, along with Nico Cavati, a rider you were riding against earlier this week, Small World Speedway. But just tell us about looking forward to this.
Well, I'm obviously very happy to be part of the team. It's one of the meetings that I always look forward to, because representing your country is one of them meetings. Speedway of Nations is always fun. There's always a good buzz around it, and the last time I had a very good meeting in Vojens, so I really have good memories about it. So yeah, Bellevue is one of them tracks which is very tricky. Everybody's fast, and it's very difficult to be very fast. So yeah, tonight at pool we tried some equipment for Manchester, tried different things, and it seems like it was working. So I'm very happy about it, and yeah, just got another meeting on Friday to prepare for Tuesday, the first semi-final.
And in that semi-final, you're up against some healthy competition, shall we say, and not least Poland, and of course they're led by their captain Bartosz Mosley.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's World Championship meetings. You can never count anybody out, and even Ukraine have got two very strong riders. Germany have very good riders. So we are there. We are part of the meeting, and we're looking strong as well. I'm having a good season. Nico is coming back obviously strong from his performance on Tuesday. Vicentin is very strong as well. So we're looking forward to that meeting. And you know, Speedway is a funny sport. Anything can happen, and we just go there with expecting nothing and just going out to have fun and score points.
And that was the next thing, really. There's always one nation who maybe surprises everybody in a competition like the Speedway of Nations. Everybody will expect the big four, if you like, maybe sort of Australia, Denmark, Sweden, maybe Poland, maybe Big Five. Britain, of course, go through to the final as hosts anyway. There's always somebody else who comes from left field, and maybe Italy, with the likes of yourself and Nico Cavati, could bring that surprise with your experience of British tracks and the British material as well.
Yeah, 100%. You know, the only thing that you know, that can change things is that obviously it's a World Championship meeting, but we are using UK equipment, which is completely different to the European one, while the likes of Poland, Sweden, you know, they are bringing the European stuff. It's very complicated for smaller nations, money-wise, let's say, to organize that kind of thing. But you know, we are still competitive. We are very hungry, and I think this competition is very nice for the smaller nation because they can show themselves, and I think it's a great opportunity for us. Again, I've got no expectation. It's just one of them meetings. I just want to go out and have fun. Whether it's going to go good or bad is not going to change. You know, too much the fact that I'm having the best season of my career so far, and I'm having fun on the bike. So I'm just going to go there with a fresh mind and try to have fun on the bike and score points.
I think you might get quite a lot of support from the British fans. Of course, they've got nobody to cheer for, particularly in the semi-finals, because Great Britain going straight through to the final. But with you being obviously a bit of a British hero at this moment in time, Nico now back in British Speedway as well, maybe you could be a nation that the British can get behind.
Yeah, 100% as well, because I had a good meeting at Bellevue last year, and it seems like the fans enjoyed it. So maybe the Bellevue fans are going to come and support. You know, it's always difficult for us to bring our own fans over, because it's always very, very far and it's difficult. But you know, it's always fun, and I always love it. And once you have your own flag on your chest, it's always something different. So I hope that can bring out the best out of me, Nico, the two Nicos, and we can have a good meeting, have a good show, and that the people are going to enjoy it.
Well, ciao Bella, and we'll see you go.
Thank you very much.
Germany bring Kai Hülkenberg, of course, Grand Prix rider, Norik Bledorn and Erik Riss. Now, again, a couple of riders there that we know can go well around the National Speedway Stadium, especially Norik.
Well, we have seen it this year, how good Norik and how fast he is. You'll know the quick way around there. He'll be obviously giving Kai and Erik. Erik's ridden there before. But there is a side that could push for a final place. Hülkenberg's shown some great speed, especially in the Grand Prix as well. So I think, you know, they're a team that will definitely, their goal is to make the final, and they're more than capable.
All right, now we can hear from Erik Riss of Team Germany.
Yeah, I mean, Kai has ridden in the UK before. You know, he's ridden at Bellevue plenty of times. At the moment, I'm on the reserve position. It looks like them two will be riding at first, which is understandable because Kai is currently the best German, and Norik rides for Bellevue and he goes really well around there. But yeah, I'm always going to be ready. I think we've got a good team. We've got a good chance of making the final.
And there's plenty of team spirit. I noticed when Norik's been here at Oxford, you can sort of see he's always there and thereabouts, having a chat with you, having a chat with Fricke as well.
Yeah, I think us three, me, Norik and Kai, we generally get on well. You know, whenever we see each other, we chat to each other. So I think it's probably the best choice of riders when it comes to team spirit.
And do you think it's also important the fact that obviously you've now got a Grand Prix rider in the mix?
Definitely. You know, just the fact that he's in the Grand Prix, he's gained so much experience just from the few GPs that he's done so far, and having someone like that in your team, it just adds a massive bonus because he's got that experience. He's used to riding against all these top riders, so yeah, it's definitely a big bonus.
And then when you look at Manchester, Bellevue, it's obviously it's a big track. It's suited to the European tracks, and you see some riders almost going long track style around Bellevue.
Yeah, I prefer big tracks. Bellevue and Sheffield are my two favourite tracks in the UK. So no, I look forward to riding there, even just in practice. You know, we never get practice in the UK before the meeting, so even that I'm looking forward to. And yeah, riding on a big track for me is always more fun.
Team USA. It's been a bit of a while since, you know, USA have been sort of in and out of international speedway, haven't they? But they have Luke Becker, of course. We're doing this from Leicester. The flapping noise you can hear is actually the Australian flag above us, and it's a breezy day. Luke Becker in the side, Gino Manzarez coming back as well, Brock Nickel as well. So all riders that have had experience here. I know Gino's interested in riding in British Speedway again. He's been riding in Sweden, I think, and he's been going all right, but he's the captain of the side.
Yeah, I think if you go back to yesterday, we mentioned it about how dominant Americans were in the pairs racing. You know, they've got some riders there that, as you said, they've got European experience, but it'll be difficult for them. Like I know Gino and Brock have been racing a lot in America, obviously on a lot smaller tracks. They've ridden the obviously Eastern European tracks before, previously the big tracks at Bellevue. But you know, I think they just go there, they're getting the experience. Someone like Luke Becker, who's knocking on the door of GP status at the minute, So it'll be about just, you know, going there and getting some pride, I think, with them guys, you know, putting, especially Luke and Brock will want to come back to England, so they'll want to put their faces in the shop window. So good performances in the World Cup, you know, could obviously see them back, you know, in Europe next year.
So Luke, it's almost time for the Speedway of Nations. Obviously yourself selected in the United States of America team once again. Yourself, Gino Manzarez and Brock Nickel. It's fair to say that team manager Steve Evans has gone with the most experienced three in the camp?
Yeah, you know, it's a race that we really look forward to. You don't often get to represent your own country, especially over here on the European side of things. So I'm excited for it, excited to get the boys, you know, back together. It's been a year off since we weren't in the World Cup last year, so yeah, super pumped, and I think we have what it takes to make the final if we're all doing our job.
For yourself, obviously the only one of those riding in Britain at the minute, obviously racing in the Rowe Motor Oil Premiership, so you get that National Speedway Stadium track time. How much can you make that count yourself and have an influence on the other boys?
You know, I think it all comes down to the day. You can, you know, have some good meetings at Bellevue and have some bad ones too, and I've been, you know, a part of that too. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I think we can do it.
Obviously being the kind of leader of that team, if you like, because you're yourself racing on the continent in the bigger leagues, is there any extra form of responsibility that you feel in this competition perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say I probably have a bit more experience, at least recently, on the tracks over here, so I'll be, you know, sharing all that I can with the boys and trying to help out wherever I can, and hopefully that, you know, plays a key factor in it. But, you know, everybody's got their own styles, their own way of doing things, and own ways of riding on the bike. So it's all up to everybody to make it all happen on the day.
Where do you think the United States of America can place in this year's Speedway of Nations? Do you think that going into the runoff to get through to the final is a realistic target?
I think it is realistic. You know, I was looking at the lineup, and you know, in our round, you definitely would say Australia and Denmark are probably the ones that would you know, get those first two spots. But yeah, that third spot is up for grabs for, you know, a few of us. So I think we could do it.
A general point on American Speedway as well, when the initial squads were announced, we saw a few new names as well. I know Steve Evans is coming over to manage them as well. There's certainly a lot of work going on back home to develop new up-and-coming riders.
Yeah, you know, there's a few riders, some you know, new blood in it, and it's cool to see them getting the experience over here and actually coming over and doing very well. So it's awesome to see. I hope it keeps going in that direction, and yeah, that'd be nothing but good for American Speedway.
Okay, well, just to round up then, a couple of the nations. Finland, Antti Vulas is a name that Workington fans will know. He had a good performance as well in the World Cup, didn't he? But again, a side that could come from left field there.
I think so, and the Bellevue track will suit them. You know, with a lot of their tracks in Finland are quite big, and he's a gator, the old boy. So, look, I think they're just teams where they need to enjoy the occasion. Same as Latvia, you know, we got in there.
Lebedev's in there.
Yeah, Lebedev. Is he fit?
Well, it's a good question, but he's been named as captain.
Okay, so I'm guessing he's going to be there. But with Lebedev, he's obviously GP experience. He's a world-class rider. It's obviously if he can get the other guys to fire with him. So, look, goal for a lot of them guys is if they can push for the final spot, that's what they should be aiming for.
And not least as well, Czech Republic, Václav Milik, Jan Kvech, got Bednar in there as well. I mean, again, they could be, that's a serious such lineup, isn't it, when you think about it?
Similar to Sweden, they're a bit of a dark horse. They've got the quality there, of GP riders, a GP experience, and it'll be a track they'll no doubt like. So I think this could be a topsy-turvy Speedway Nations. I think obviously Australia, Poland definitely favourites, but yeah, I think a lot will determine on track conditions, how grippy it is. I think if they run it slicker, you'll get some great racing.
Jan, you're racing for Czechia, Czech Republic on Wednesday in Speedway of Nations at Bellevue. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, we have a chance to go to the final. We go there because we want to go to the final, and I think we have a good team, and hopefully we'll do it.
Do you think the Bellevue track is a big track? Do you think that will be good for you?
I've been there maybe 4 years ago on the Speedway of Nations. Yeah, but I'm long time not been there. I think is a more similar track what we have in Czech or Poland, and yeah, we are ready come there and wanna wanna go to the final.
You're racing with Václav Milik, very experienced rider. Do you think he will be a good team partner for you?
Yeah, I'm racing with him more years now in the Czech representation, and I think we are good pairs, and hopefully will be good race for us.
And also you have Adam Bednar, a young rider, a very exciting young rider. Do you think he is the future with you of Czech Speedway?
Yeah, I think he is the future. He is more exciting rider, a young rider, and this is for him one from first big race, and hopefully this is the Czech. I don't know how to say.
The future of
Czech future.
Yeah. And you're racing against Australia and Denmark, but obviously 3 teams go through, so you have a chance next week.
Yeah, we have a strong teams there, Denmark and Australia, but I think we have a chance to go there from 3rd place, and we go there and we wanna beat the Australia and Denmark, but we will see. That's more strong team, and we wanna go to the final.
Well, cheers, Rory. Been great chatting. Look forward to this next week. It'll be a big week of Speedway with the first semi-final Tuesday, second semi-final Wednesday, SON2 Friday, and the big grand final at the National Speedway Stadium on Saturday.
You've not told me who's your money on. Well,
that's what I'm going to ask you. That's what I'm going to ask you. Who's on the podium then on Saturday night?
I'm going to go an Aussie win, Poland 2nd, and England 3rd, Britain 3rd. That's my top 3, I think. I just think I keep mentioning it, depending on track conditions, but I just think I think they might use Brady. I think one of the Aussies may find themselves on the bench, because I just think Brady's been so strong at Bellevue. Actually, Mark Lemon's got a really tough call. He's got 3 world-class riders there around Bellevue, and to know which one he's going to use is going to be quite difficult. So, but yeah, I'll go for an Aussie win, Poland 2nd, and Britain 3rd.
I'm going Poland 3rd. I'm going for a final between Australia and Great Britain, and therefore Dan Bewley and Brady Kurtz going at it in the final for a classic.
You're gonna put the edge on there, for Bellevue for the remainder of the year.
We will see. We will see Saturday night for the final. Big week ahead, the Speedway of Nations. Hope that's filled out the picture a bit for you, and hope you enjoy it.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.